All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat today from the Sahara branch, the branch manager from Sahara branch, somebody I also worked with at Mike Ferry. And I'm going to tell you, Amanda, probably one of the, I think, one of the most amazing things about your history in real estate is the fact that you went, the only person I know who's done this, worked at Mike Ferry. You went from selling on the sales floor to being a coach. Obviously, you were real estate licensed before that. So that was a pretty thing. When I was there, you're the only one who's ever done that, as far as I know. Go from the sales floor, selling tickets, and back then it was cassette series. I mean, not cassettes, but CDs, not 8-tracks. That was my day. And then into well, welcome today. So, how you doing this fine and glorious day?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So tell them a little about everybody, I was here 2 years. So you've been with us, 4 years now? Is it 4 or 5?
I just celebrated my 5th year, June 29th.
5th year, so my 7th is coming up then. That's amazing.
Yep.
Wow.
I know.
There you go. I keep forgetting how long I've been here. Time flies. So tell them a little about yourself, how long you've been in real estate, maybe a little about your career at Mike Ferry, which probably not maybe everybody knows about.
Yeah, like you said, I did start by selling real estate in general. I started in 2001, so I have about 19 years having something to do with real estate. And I sold out here in Las Vegas full-time for a couple different small companies, Merit Realty and Venture Realty. And I did that for 8 years, and then I went and worked for Mike Ferry for 8 years, a combination of working on the sales floor and then many years coaching real estate agents, all different levels. And at my busiest time, I had between 50 and 60 people in my schedule.
Yeah.
And then I started here. We met there, and then you recruited me here. So I've been with you guys for 5 years. And I get to use my experience of having sold real estate and having coached to now kind of like it helps me with what I do now as a branch manager here in Las Vegas at the Sahara branch.
Right. And don't forget to mention, you've been at least once branch of the year since you've been here, right? Is it once or twice?
Yep, once.
Good.
And hopefully again pretty soon here.
In the near future, and on stage a few times at the convention by being in the top 10. That was nice too, yep.
Top 10 branch out of over, 1,600 offices across the U.S.?
Yep. It's funny because I had been here maybe a year and a half, and Mark came to me and said, okay, because Matt, as you know, Matt was coaching, not coaching, but he has his own team, Matt Mullen, and he was also being the manager over there, which is pretty crazy. And Mark asked me, Matt's not going to do that forever. Can you think of somebody, and I said, do you want somebody who's a really good coach? He said, yeah. And I said, so I called you at Mike Ferry, and then we got you over here within a few months, and that was great. So that's been fun, right? It's a whole different gig.
It has. Thank you.
The thing
it has been, absolutely.
Tell them a little about, okay, so you're coaching at Mike Ferry. Tell them some of the stuff because I know that I met Mike in 1990. I was one of the first 5 one-on-one coaches. I coached one of the first full-time. I learned as much as I brought to a coach. I learned as much or more coaching agents, and that's why I always say my success series isn't just a little of Mike Ferry, Tom, Brian Buffini, Richard Flynn. There's a whole bunch of people and myself. It's also, I would say, 40% of it is what I learned from coaching other agents. So you're coaching at Mike Ferry. You've done that for a long time. Give us some ideas what you think, what you learned from some of the top producers and what actually works in selling real estate.
Sure. Some of the top producers, and even now, even watching what the best of the best are doing in these last 4 months.
Yeah.
I made some notes on, what are the best of the best doing? No matter what, they create a database which could be center of influence, so people we know, and past clients. Now, again, you have to do some business to start that. So if you're starting from zero, you still need to find a way to start a database and then effectively and consistently communicating with that database. That's one of them.
Good. Yep. And let's face it, let's put a quick plug in here. You couldn't get a better system right now than the VAC 2.0 to organize your database.
Absolutely. Organize and have the electronic way to communicate. So back from Mike Ferry days, and now we recommend you communicate with your database 4 times a year by mail or electronic something, and then 4 times a year verbal communication, at least an effort, even if it's calling them and leaving them a message. So our VAC 2.0 can do the first part of that easily, and all you have to do is set it up and let it work for you. Absolutely.
Right. Excellent. Great point.
So that's one of the things. And then, you know what, becoming a real estate resource in your community, or to any, some of you have people that you know all over the U.S., so you want to be a real estate resource so that when they think something real estate, when they think something about their house or investing or whatever it may be, they think you. Even if it's like, oh, I need to get my carpets cleaned. Well, let me call Amanda and see if she knows anybody. You know what I mean? So becoming that real estate resource. And doing that with facts and good customer service. So sharing the market stats, sharing what is going on, so they start to think of you as that resource and that person they want to reach out to find out what's going on with the real estate market.
Right. Excellent. Cool.
And I have other points.
Keep going. No, so far they're great. I mean, I love them. Keep going.
You know what? Over the years, I've if someone can learn to delegate the non-income producing activities, so the admin. So whether you're brand new, in your first year or two, you probably want to learn the admin. You want to learn how to maintain a file. You want to learn all the paperwork. But after that, when you get to 20 or more deals a year, if you have the ability to let go of control or train somebody to do it for you, that's one of the best things that the best of the best can do, is they're not afraid to delegate. And Mike Ferry himself is really good at that, because he would have us do different things. He mastered the art of delegation.
Yes, no doubt. Yeah, he's really good at that. And it's very interesting today because, when I did that Facebook Live with him, I was like, if you said to me 7-8 years ago that I'd be doing a Facebook Live with Mike Ferry, I would say you're out of your mind.
I know. He was anti-social media, and you weren't exactly embracing social media or electronics yourself. So it's crazy how you guys have evolved, When
I was at Mike Ferry and you were in my group, remember you were in my group, the senior coaches had a group, and you were in my group, and everybody used to make fun of me because, let's just put it this way, I had a relatively intelligent phone. I didn't even have a smartphone then.
You had a flip phone, and it wasn't even 10 years ago.
It wasn't a flip phone. It slid to. It was like it was more like a crackberry.
But he's evolved, and you've evolved, to get with the times, if you will. And the delegating is huge. And I've watched agents, and they're doing 40 or 50 deals, and they're completely stressed out because they just won't give up the reins of their paperwork,
Perfectionists,
Yeah, and it's like, train somebody on it, and then spend 75% of your time in income-producing activities.
Yep. Especially right now.
Oh, yeah.
With the inventory going down, and I know everybody, we have the pandemic thing going on, but the real estate market doesn't care. It's cranking, and inventory's going down, and interest rates are incredible. And if the saying "list to last," has ever been important, it's now.
Absolutely.
So go ahead. I interrupted. I'm sorry.
Great inventory. So along the lines of, income producing activities and making sure you're spending the majority of your time in them, having a schedule, creating a powerful schedule is what the best of the best do. Whether they did that at Mike Ferry or they're here at one of our branches, y'all are independent contractors, so you don't have to have a schedule per se. But when you do create that powerful schedule that works for you and that is 75% of income producing activities, you will be a top producer. You will reach your goals. Right.
Absolutely. And you've got some really, really good agents over there. Harvey, I interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, Harvey and Shelley. You've got Jack, who's been doing, let's face it. If you guys, everybody on this call today, go to YouTube. There's a YouTube video narrated by Jack Woodcock, for the back then it was Galvar. I still call it Galvar because it's way cooler than Las Vegas, whatever it was called now. Galvar sounds cooler. So go on and look at Jack Woodcock narrating the history of real estate in Las Vegas. It's incredible, okay, because he's been around for quite a while. And I mean, the list goes on. You got John in there. You've got Liz. You've got so many great agents in there.
Yeah, Billy O'Keefe,
and what
Danielle Hess, Yana Shore.
Exactly. And everything you're talking about, is the stuff that these people do this stuff, right?
Absolutely. Billy is the epitome of having a schedule. I mean, every other week he drives to California to be with family, and that happens no matter what. But he still is a top producer. He makes use of his time. He's listening to audiobooks on the way there and the way back, so he's able to log 12, 15, 16 hours minimum a month of audiobooks, which is something I wanted to talk about.
Analytical. Yeah. Super analytical, knows his numbers. Because I only have two people in my coaching schedule that are once a month, Billy and Avi. Yeah. So, but Billy, he can tell you where he is. I'm 12% over last year, 8% behind. He knows what he's doing because he keeps track of everything. He knows what benefits he's getting from the tip. He's got some online stuff. He knows what percentage. So the key is, if you're a business, know your numbers.
Absolutely. Like Mike Ferry would say, you can only improve what you measure. So start tracking something. Start tracking how many real estate conversations you have a day, and then track how many appointments you set, how many do you go on. And soon enough, you're going to know that you need to talk to, say, 83 people to get a listing agreement signed or to close a deal or whatever it may be. Maybe the number is 500, but once you know that, you can improve it. And you won't be able to do that until you know it. So tracking numbers is huge.
Yep. Tracking numbers is huge. And then you got on the opposite end, Avi. I know he's not in Europe, but Avi is Mr. Relationship. Doesn't really keep track of his numbers, but his relationships are incredible. And because of that, he does a tremendous amount of business. So I would say you got to know your niche. Like every one of them, like Billy's very analytical. Avi's very, relationship oriented. Although Billy is very relationship oriented too, but for different reasons. Billy has quite a relationship with his sphere, but he's got a very organized CRM, like you just mentioned. I know that Harvey does. So good. You mentioned audiobooks. Tell us a little about that, because know me, I'm an audiobook junkie.
Totally. So what I had written down or thought about was that the best of the best, they work on their mindset daily, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes a day. And an easy way to do that is audiobooks. Some people prefer to actually read, like a hard copy of a book, or maybe a positive magazine, maybe it's Success Magazine. But they work on their mindset daily, because this business can be, it can be emotional for the consumers. It could be emotional for you if you don't keep your emotions in between the lines. So it's so important to work on your mindset daily, because you will inevitably encounter more no's and not interested, and you'll encounter more of that than yeses, but all you need is, 1 or 2 yeses a day. You just have to get through those no's, and to do that, you have to have a strong mindset to be able to withstand those, or withstand what's going on in the market, or withstand what the media might be saying that is typically negative. Working on your mindset daily is probably not listening to the news every day, but find something positive. Find a resource. Read Forrest's blog. Find some way to feed your mind with positivity daily.
Totally agree. Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important to keep your mindset positive, and I know no other way than, first off, it's a mix of things for me. It's the audiobooks, it's the meditation, it's the workout. And I think those three things together give you a strong, now you can have a strong mindset from just audiobooks, but if you don't have some type of physical exercise, it's not as good. In the same meditation, what we didn't mention is that you also are a yoga instructor, and I know are you still doing that on Saturdays?
Yep, every Saturday, 10 years, same class, yoga basics.
Yep. That's got to be very helpful. Well, it's also helpful for your discipline, but it's also incredibly good for your mindset, isn't it?
Totally. It's the time when I'm actually the most present, is when I'm teaching. And when I'm most present, the anxiety or anger or whatever I might have, that goes away, or any anxiety about the future, just being present. So I am a huge advocate of meditation and learning to be present. And in the present moment, you can find the good. And when you find the good, you find more good. And then, boom, you have a positive mindset.
Yep.
But
it's true. It is amazing how
both.
you get what you expect. Yeah.
Absolutely. You get what you're looking for. I mean, whatever you believe, you're going to find. So exercise is huge. I know that this is not a gym or a workout video or audio, but you and I both are into exercise, and it's so good for you. And we only really have our health. But in real estate, you got to have some sort of health. It can be demanding. It can be stressful. It can take a lot of energy. And when you are fit or you've taken the time to exercise on a regular basis, everything works better, you know?
Yeah, it really does. Everything does work better. Awesome. I love it. I love it too. Okay. Any more tidbits on your list of goodies from the, what did you call it? Top producer activities?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, these are the things that top producers do, and I've found. And I also want new people to know that it's for them too. So like Billy 20 years ago didn't start with a giant database. You know what I mean?
No.
But John Williams, he's 4 years in the business and he's started to build one. I have a few agents here who, they're only 2 or 3 years in the business, but they're kicking butt because they're, they're building one. And for people that are new to town, maybe they're not from Las Vegas or not from their market, you can build a database. So this is not just for people that know all kinds of people. You can eventually build a database of 50, 100, 200, and just keep building from there. But the best of the best work on
best of the best.
The best of the best work on the skill and art of asking questions. Some people call it scripts, whatever it may be. They're curious and they've developed the questions to ask to determine someone's motivation, determine that someone's going to take action, determine that someone's going to work exclusively with them. So whether you want to call it scripts, sales dialogue, the best have learned what to ask, what to say in selling situations, and truly asking questions, because asking questions is really selling. Selling is not telling, and it's really important to be curious about who you're dealing with. And we have scripts, and some people have their own. I mean, everybody's saying something. I think, at Mike we would say, everybody has a canned presentation. It just depends on what's in your can.
That's right. I love it. Every time we talk about scripts, I think everybody in Nevada and Arizona and California, if they want to drive here, which I think is a great idea. We have the Success Center, and you have Dan Mumm there, who is, his fourth year in the business last year. He closed 78 transactions. His gross income was really incredible, and this year, his goal is to get to $1 million gross income, and I believe he's on track with 120 closings. He's tracking right now for 100. We know the average commission per side in Vegas is about 10 grand, so do the math. Mm-hmm. He's tracking for $1 million this year, and I think his average sale price is slightly higher. So, I mean, anybody, especially in Nevada, if you don't go to the success, you need to speak, as Amanda said, you need to speak real estate fluently. And that includes asking open-ended questions, repeating, approving, asking the next question. That's what they do at the Success Center every single day. Dan role plays with them. It's invaluable. And it's amazing to me how very few people, there's 12 or 14 people there most days. I know last time I went in, there was about 12 people. But there could be 15 people. And the social distancing thing is taken care of, and we have hand sanitizer. We have extra masks in case you forget yours. We have a box of them there. So you can definitely do that too, because somebody asked me that last week, and I'm like, yep. So we can definitely do that too. So I would recommend that. My little plug. Sorry, Amanda, go ahead.
No, that's great. Absolutely. It's so true. It's such a great place to have. I don't know, do we have them in Arizona or California, either place?
No, they have to drive here. If they want to do and I'm going to tell you something. I've got a couple people from Arizona who are driving, and I got one guy from California who's talking about coming. Fortunately, we have 2 hotels right next to the office that they can stay in and walk across the parking lot, especially the one, I think the Best Western is right next to the post office. You walk through the post office parking lot and you're here, and
Mhm.
you can, learn how to speak fluent real estate. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight, but you
No.
get an idea. It's like it'll click if you see other people doing it. That's what I always say. It'll
Mhm.
click. Like when I was at my career, I used to run the prospecting school. I
Yep.
mean, how many times did you see people have an aha moment
Mhm.
at the prospecting school, right?
They did, and it could change their life. It could totally change like the trajectory of the rest of their career because they were like, "Oh, I get it," or "Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, let me implement one thing I heard and boom, I just set an appointment." Yeah, so maybe
Yep.
people can just decide, "Hey, I'm going to come visit Rick at the Success Series or Success Center or Dan and come out for 2 days or 3 days and, make 100 contacts a day."
Yeah, be somebody. That's the record
Oh,
actually. That's the record of the Success Center is 100
that's
contacts.
awesome.
Stefan LaForge did it. If he would just
Nice.
continue the prospecting, he would do great. And that's when I was there, when I had it on Pebble. Okay, so
Mhm.
you know what I'm going to ask you because we got about 8 minutes left.
Mhm.
So I'm a brand new agent, or I want to take my business to the next level as a coach, as a manager now in real estate for 19 years. What's the three most important things you tell them to focus on?
Okay. Well, there's three things they need to do. Like at first, they need to set a goal, and that how we do that is we typically start with how much money they need or have to make. So let's say
Right.
it's 100,000. Then we need to translate that to transactions. So that would be, depending on the market, 10 transactions, and then they need to figure out their daily revenue commitment of, hey, what activities am I going to do to get the 10 deals, which means 10 real estate conversations per day. So
Right.
goal, tying it to, so goal of dollar amount, tying it to units, and then tying it to daily activities and a set number of conversations to have each day, and then being consistent with that. So um, then activities, again, they have a menu of activities they could be involved in. We need to make sure they're income producing activities. So we've set a goal, number one. Now we need to set a schedule based on what they're supposed to be doing each day. So we have a goal, we have a schedule, and then I think the third is just the execution of just doing it every day, along sprinkled
Right.
in with some mindset training. It's like, all right, I have a goal. I know what I need to do each day. I know what activities I'm going to be involved in no matter what, even if it's sprinkling outside or even if I don't feel that good or even if I'm a little tired, but they're going to do it 5 days a week no matter what, and then just going out and doing it. And maybe it's not
Mhm.
physically like door knocking or open housing just yet because you can't right now I think in all three markets we can't yet. But we're finding a way to hit those 10 contacts every day, and I'm taking care of my mindset daily. So that is what I believe is all most important.
Yeah. And you're right. It starts with setting a goal. Like, I want to make 100,000. My average commission is 10. So I got to do 10 deals. That's 10
Mhm.
conversations a day. And I'm going to tell you something, like I'm going to Facebook Live I'm doing tomorrow by myself. I'm just going to do how to maximize the second half of the year. And, when real estate is done right, meaning you're making money at it, it's the most fun business in the world, but it's actually can get a little boring when you're doing it right. When you're doing it
Mhm.
because you're talking to people. See, I don't
Mhm.
find talking to people boring, but some people do. I mean, you're in the business of talking to people, so but it can get a little monotonous. I mean, you're talking to people and you're filling your pipeline so you can achieve
Mhm.
your goals. But if you just get into service and help people, it makes it a lot more palatable. Plus, let's face it, your fiduciary responsibility as an agent is to do that.
Mhm.
Fiduciary
Mhm.
responsibility is
Absolutely.
like taking the golden rule to the next level. That's what it really
Yeah,
is about.
exactly. Yeah, because if you don't, you get in trouble. So.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right?
Well,
It's so true.
yeah, no, you do.
You know, and it's important though to tie something to your goal. So why do you want to make the 100,000 or 200,000 or 50,000, whatever it is? There's no right or wrong, but why do you want to do it? Do you want to pay off a car? Do you want to buy an investment property? Do you want to have a down payment for a house? Do you want to do something for your parents? I don't know what that is, but each person has to have some sort of driving force to get them to do it each day, something that really matters to them. Not just, oh, I don't know, I think, 6 figures would be nice. Well, how is that going to drive you every day to do it when you don't even feel like it?
I
So you
totally
have
agree.
to have those reasons. And it might be a monthly goal, it might be every 6 months. Like as you achieve stuff, as you earn more money that pays for stuff and finances stuff, you need to find more reasons, you know?
Yeah,
And for some people on this call even, they don't have to make the money. I mean, it's
right.
true. I mean, some people have to, some people don't. You still have to have a why. Do you want to do something charitable? Something that's true to your heart, true to you, that will help drive you all the time, despite the ups and downs.
Yep. I coach agents all the time that don't have to make money, and I tell them all the time, the reason you're not doing the activities is because you don't have to make money. That's your biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great problem to
Mm-hmm.
have, right? But when
Quality problem.
Yeah,
It's a quality
yeah,
problem.
yes. It is a quality problem. It's a good problem to have, but it's still a problem to, and I tell agents too, sometimes their biggest drawback is a little success towards their goal, because now you've got closings and, you got things happening and it distracts you. A lot of people say, I want to sell 50 homes, but then they start selling 30 for the first time ever. And they go, you know what? I'm leveling off at 30. There's nothing wrong with that. It's great.
At all.
30 homes
Yeah.
a year in Las Vegas is a really good income. Same with them.
Absolutely.
And California puts you in the top 5 of your office. Okay. In Arizona probably as well too, because, the average sale price is so much better than Vegas.
Right, and even if your goal is 10 and that you truly don't want to do any more than that, but hey, how can you do 10 more efficiently and effectively? And I mean, there's no goal is bad. It isn't always like
Right.
more, I have people that have asked me, is it okay? Are you going to kick me out of the office if I only sell like 7 homes or 8 homes or 10 homes? And we talk about it because everybody has their own personal goal and it's okay.
Yes, the question is, are you still going to love me if I only sell 7 homes? Yes, I'm going to love you, but we're going to miss you. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. It's funny because, my son, Bodie, has moved with me full-time now in high school at Pelliver. So he's been listening, and hearing and watching now. He's been here about 5 weeks, and he said to me the other night, he goes, okay, so if I decided to get in real estate after high school, I go, well, you're going to go to college first anyway. No, I know. I go, but what's the number one question that most agents ask you about income when they first come in? What's the number everybody wants to make?
100,000. Yeah.
Yeah, 100,000. So he said to me, how do you make 6 figures in real estate? I'm like, I looked at him funny. I'm like, well, how do people know to ask that question first?
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, well, in Las Vegas, you'd have to sell about, between 13 and 15 homes. So I said, let's just say 15. And he goes, 15? That's like a little more than 1 a month.
Right.
I go, yeah, like 1 every 4 weeks. He goes, doesn't sound that hard. I go, it really isn't. Right. The activities involved they're really not that hard. Now, it takes a while to gel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it takes a while to gel, but, the activities involved aren't complicated. They aren't, but a lot of agents quit before the miracle happens or whatever. So it isn't. And everyone who wants to, but like you just said, Amanda, we can't tell you what your goals are, but we can only, once you decide what they are, help you get there. But then here's the old line. You can't teach commitment. You either are committed or you are not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're
so
right
true.
there. Any final sentence you want to leave these wonderful people on the call today?
You know what? Seek the opportunities. Seek find the good in our real estate industry. I mean, like Rick said, the mortgage rates are historically low, the lowest they've been in 50 years. Seek out the opportunities and go for it, because you will find what you're looking for. If you seek stress and drama and, oh my gosh, getting beat out by another agent, that's going to happen. So seek the good,
right.
Seek the positive, find the good stats, look at them daily, find the positive, and you will have and create more of that.
Yeah, I love the, this morning we'll get that report from Forrest about he already sent out his housing market letter, but I want to see the pending tracker and listings tracker. That's been incredibly good to see how all 3 of our markets are at a better pace the last few weeks than they were prior to the pandemic. So that's incredible. It's great. We're going to finish strong, and we have a tremendous tailwind, I would say, is critical. So, Amanda, thank you very much for your time this morning. Everybody else will be doing this again in exactly 1 week. Also, a little commercial here. I will be doing success series for all 3 markets. The first week, what does that start? August 3rd. The first week of August, whatever that is, 3rd or the 4th, I'm going to be doing success series for all 3 markets. So we'll start the advertising for that. You guys, and don't forget, this will also be on my podcast. Okay, Amanda, you'll be on my podcast forever now, with your own name on there and everything. It'll be wonderful. And then also, it'll be on my YouTube channel. My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody have a good day.
All right, you too. Thanks, Amanda. Woo! Go get them, folks.
Bye. Woo!